if we don't give it to them, it'll be very, very hard. You know what this reminds me of when you listen to people like that woman? Have you ever been in a relationship and you lose your job and the person you're with all of a sudden wants to break up? Yeah, that person wasn't really with you because they loved you or they loved being with you. They were only with you because of what you could do for them and what you could provide. The beautiful thing about Trump implementing these new policies where he's turning off the spigot that was financially funding all of this illegal immigration is that now you can see the true intention of these illegals. See, for a lot of Americans, a lot of us have good hearts. We assume that these people are coming from horrible, war-torn places. Basically, in the minds of an imagination, the entire world has been nuked by Martians, and the only bit of civilization left on Earth is the United States, kind of like the movie Elysium. And we think that they're coming here because they want to start, watching daytime TV, learn English, become Americans, take their kids to soccer practice. And we are extremely, extremely delusional. We are incorrect. A lot of these people are only coming here for the money. That's it. And when I say for the money, I mean they are specifically being paid by Democrats and NGOs. They're being paid to come to America. Now, these people have an agreement and they're paid every month. But with the money being cut off, well, now we're starting to see them get frustrated. They're getting irritated and they're getting mad to the point where they will now start to self-deport. Because there's no point in being in the United States if you don't want to be an American. These people don't even want to learn English. They hate this country and they hate Americans. They don't integrate with us because they do not want to assimilate. Their allegiance is to the country that they were recruited to come to the United States from. The goal was never to come here and to, eventually start wearing a quarter zip and drinking Starbucks. They came here to milk the system and send money back to where they're from. Remittance. We're finding out that these Somalians have sent billions to terrorist organizations in Somalia, billions that they defrauded and scammed from American taxpayers. But see, that's the exchange. To support these Democrats and keep them in power, they will make sure that you're not arrested for your crimes, your immigration fraudulent paperwork is pushed through, and that there's no oversight to catch you. If it wasn't for Trump, none of this stuff would have ever came out or been uncovered. And we're moving at such a rapid pace, I can't be anything but impressed. But I'm noticing more and more people every day are now waiting for ICE to come get them because, just like any other, this is moving to America as a job for them. And just like any other job, if you don't get paid after a while, you're going to quit and you're going to go back home. And home is where their heart is. Their heart's not here in the United States. Even if they had their kids here. They are not here to struggle. They are not here to pull themselves up, work with Americans, make this place great and better. They're not here for that. They're here because they are paid to be here. And once the going gets tough, they are out. And they threatened these Democrat judges and they said, hey, if you guys don't turn my snap back on, we got about 3 more weeks and then we're out of here. I've literally watched and shared the video. I did stories on them. If they're not paid their benefits, and that's how they're paid It's through money laundering through the government. They use Medicaid to send cash benefits to illegals. And then they use Section 8 for their housing, and they use SNAP EBT for their food. Even, listen, Americans born and raised here are shocked to find out that these people are getting 3, 4, 5,000 cash a month. It's just that we don't know these people. We don't talk to them. They stay amongst themselves, and everybody's very hush hush because even they know it's a scam, but they don't want to, they don't want the scam to blow up. Americans are not getting anywhere near that type of money per month. Our veterans aren't getting that much. Our seniors aren't getting that much because, well, they're already Americans. And, you could be a Democrat one day and you could decide to vote Republican the next. Because you're so unstable with your voting patterns, they need for sure voters. So they're importing these people from the third world and they're paying them. And one condition of these payments is that you're going to illegally vote Democrat. Because once we can get you an ID as an illegal, you can vote. And even if there's an audit after the election, they're not going to reverse whoever becomes president or the governor. They're not going to reverse it and say, wait a minute, because of all this fraud. We learned that back in 2020, where we did all the audits and all over the country, and Texas sued Pennsylvania for changing their election laws unilaterally without going through the state legislature. Because you guys are allowing fraud in your state, that has an impact on Texas. If you're in another state, if your fraud's allowed, and us in other states, we're affected by that. So we had grounds to sue, in the Supreme Court didn't even want to hear the case. So because of that, a lot of this stuff is still up in the air. But now that we know what's happening, we know how to stop it. But first things first, we had to cut off the money. Now, what's happening in these other blue states, starting today, we are cutting off all of the EBT and SNAP benefits for the states that will not allow us to do an audit. Because right now we have to go through the rolls. We have to see who's getting paid out benefits. Are they citizens? Are they even alive? When was the last time they've came in person? How do you know these benefits are going to these people? And the blue states, it's like 20 something of them, are refusing to hand over the records. That's like going into a bank and saying, hey, I want to get a loan. And then the bank person says, okay, here goes this application. And you're like, whoa, what's this? You want me to fill out this? I want a loan, but I don't want you to have my information on record. I don't want you going through my background because you're a bank and you're a bank teller and I don't trust you. What if you take my information and go try to buy a car? And the bank looks at you like, then why are you here asking me for something if you don't want to give me your information? That's the equivalent of where we are with these blue states. They don't want us to do an audit of the roles of people receiving these benefits. So because they don't want to be transparent with us, we have grounds to cut off all the benefits until we can verify where the funds are going. And that's what's happening this week. So when I see this woman threatening that this is going to be a bad holiday, the fact that she hardly speaks English at her age and she's in the country, she's not here to live. She's here because it's a job. The fact that she feels entitled to benefits from our government and from our president is just insane. I'll play it again one more time for those who just signed in.
I don't think it's fair.
I'll be honest, it does not appear that she's not had a good dinner in many, many years, thanks to the generosity of American taxpayers. But if I went to Mexico today, what programs could I apply for and President Scheinbaum would say, you know what, Rico, here goes some money for this, that, and the third. You don't got to be a citizen. You just have to ask. What other countries besides in Europe can I go to as and even an American, where can I go on earth and just apply for benefits and they're going to just give me free stuff just for existing? I mean, I know that's how it works in Canada, but even their country's entire economy is looking to break. All of Europe's in a recession, a depression, because of this flooding of these countries. But when you want power and there's an invasion that you're paying for, you can get the support artificially from the new people that will outweigh the natives. Again, as a native person of these countries, you can say, you know what? I did vote Republican last time, but I like this new guy. I'm going to vote Democrat. But you're going to want, if you're a politician, you want security. When you look at Tim Walz in Minnesota and you find out that there's no term limits for governor in Minnesota, you can understand why they're out there licking the balls and kissing the foreheads of all these fucking Somalians, because technically they can make him an emperor for the rest of his life with just their votes. Also, with all the fraud they're committing, from what I remember, it was 10% to the big guy. And I'm pretty sure that's across the board. I'm pretty sure that's just not for Waltz. Yeah, they do. Yeah, well, it just depends on which elections you're talking about. Sorry, I'm reading some of these chats, and someone said elections aren't ran by the federal government. Well, the election for presidents are, but if you're in a state, for a state position, those are run by the state. Maybe he's misunderstanding what I'm saying, and there is audio because people can hear me and I can hear myself, so I had to figure out this whole audio situation. That's why I haven't done videos the last couple of days. But again, listening to entitled illegals saying what we owe them, it just lets you know that they are not here to become Americans. They're here to freeload. They're here for the free stuff. And if you cut off the free stuff and stop the freeloading, they are not going to just become productive Americans that join society. They're going to leave. Just like when you had a really good job, you had this beautiful girlfriend, and when you got laid off, she wants to now break up. It's the same thing. Just like that woman would be using you, these illegals are using us. So I'm glad that Trump is removing their incentive to stay here. And this is going to help us. It's going to help ICE, because now more people will self-deport and we can just go after the criminals that are just trying to, bunker down. But the good thing is even the criminals get benefits. And without those benefits, America's just, the juice isn't just worth the squeeze. They're here for the hustle. They're not here to work and grind it out. They're here for the benefits. So thank you, Trump, for bringing things back into perspective and for being an inspiration to illegals to go try to make their own country great again. I'll be back on in a few minutes with another story. I just got to check the audio. See you again shortly. And remember, America first, America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.